Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel of Sad Sangat Astrology. This video, I will talk about the Taurus season. And there's a lot to say about this wonderful fixed sign of Taurus. So this is a nice picture that I took, a trip I took to the wonderful island of Corsica, where animals roam around the roads, and the cars had to stop in order to let them pass. And there are goats and oxen and cows and all kinds of animals going in free in the countryside and on the roads. So, and this is the season to come to the freedom of nature and to associate ourselves with the rhythms of nature, with this harmony, the calm, and the quiet of nature. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to focus on the Taurus new moon, May 16, 2026, but I will talk about several things. So one of them is that for this new moon in Taurus, we have Venus out of bounds. And Venus is out of bounds from 5 of May to 8 of June. But let me go back to this wonderful, beautiful flower, because as the cycle of Venus marks a pentagram on the sky, you can see the pentagram inside this flower, this five-pointed star, and I really don't know the name of this flower, but it has 5 petals, and each petal is at the point of the star in the middle. So it's, I mean, it's amazing how nature is associated and reflecting and following the cosmos. So Venus out of bounds is an exceptional situation for this planet, right? Because it has exceptional energy, exceptional beauty, exceptional desires as well. So there is grace and charm and magnetism, and it could be exceptional popularity as well, especially for celebrities and for beautiful people, not only women, but also men. So artistic talents, it could give great seduction and sensuality, even unusual sense of beauty. And on the kind of less positive side, it could be jealousy, extravagance, lust, indulgence, exaggerated materialism, greed, unusual sexuality, and pomposity. So we can watch out for those different grades of the energy of Venus for this full moon. I think there is a lot of significance for this Taurus new moon. Sorry, I think I said full moon. New moon. So we're starting a new cycle in the sign of Taurus, which is it is a fixed sign, right? So we start a cycle that we think is going to be fixed in the sense that something that doesn't want to change, that it could be kind of obstinate or stubborn, right? But keep in mind that those are the less positive traits of the archetype of Taurus, because Taurus represents the calm and the harmony and the slow pace of nature. So people who are sometimes they are told that they're too stubborn or too slow to move or too slow to make a decision or too slow to change, is because they have an internal nature clock and they know when is the good time. Like nature, the plants, they know when it's spring, they know when there is time to bloom, when it is time to give fruit, when it's time to go dormant, and to protect themselves. So we need to keep in mind this beautiful trait of the archetype of Taurus. And we have also not only the moon and the sun in Taurus, but we have also Mercury very, very close to both of them. So our thinking, our mind has turned since a few weeks ago, since Mercury ingressed in Taurus, we had to slow down our even our communications and the way of thinking, because we have probably realized that there is too much information to handle, and we at some point we are not able to handle all that. So I personally, a few weeks ago, I decided to just stop and try to find presence in my own mind, observe my own mind, and become more mindful of what is going on in my thinking, with meditation, with different practices like mantra and such, in order to find a calmer mind. Because with Mercury in, Uranus in the sign ruled by Mercury, the sign of Gemini, actually has electrified our communications, and I think there is too much electricity, too much anxiety in the communication field. So Mercury in Taurus has been helping us to hold on to the present and go back to the rhythm of nature, right? A natural way of thinking, and the process of communications, get this different perspective. So I think it's a very helpful. It's very helpful for this new moon cycle to start this way. In addition to Mercury, we have Ceres conjunct this new moon. So, I'm gonna get started analyzing. But first of all, I would like to make a comment about the fixed star Algol, because you probably have heard astrologers talk about this moon is conjunct Algol, and it's such and such, and the description of this fixed star. Of course, Algol is a huge, very important fixed star in the sky. However, there is something very important to consider, and is the astronomy of it. Because as you can see here, the moon, this new moon, the moon has an out-of-bound declination. And as well as Venus is out-of-bound. So the planet that is out-of-bound has special characteristics. However, in order to consider a conjunction of any cosmic body, any solar system planet with a fixed star, there is an orb to take into account. And for big stars like Algol, is 2 degrees orb in longitude. Okay, however, this also applies to declination. So, and especially because it's this moon declination is, the declination of the moon is 24 degrees 2 minutes. But Algol has a declination currently of 40 degrees 57 minutes and 20 seconds. So this means north, right? And the moon is also in declination north. So what this means is that if we make the difference between the moon declination and Algol declination, there is 16 degrees difference in declination. So, which means that is so much above that they don't make a conjunction. So, and that's the point we need to consider. Even though the longitude might be very close, but they are so far apart that actually I don't think that is sound to say that there is a conjunction, right? They are not parallel, and if you follow the ancient theory and use of declinations in astrology, you'll find out that 16 degrees declination difference is not effective for the astrology viewpoint. Okay, so having said that, let's talk about then, first of all, the moon. The moon is very, very close to the Earth. Is in the perigee. Peri means close. G is the Earth. So the moon is very, very close, which means that it is 14% bigger than usual. And what happens when the moon is also when it's so close, it has a gravitational pull that makes it very dramatic. So emotionally, we are much more affected by a perigee moon than an apogee moon when the moon is farther away. So these are called crisis moon. And there are 4 every year. There are 4 this year. There are 5 because there's also the eclipse. So they started in April, new moon in April, new moon in May, new moon in June, and new moon in July, and plus the eclipse, the solar eclipse in August. So we have 5 crisis new moons. And it's called, as I said, it's a critical new moon because of the closeness and the gravitational pull, the bigger influence of the moon over life on Earth, especially over water. Right? So at the times of the crisis new moon, we may have higher tides in the oceans, and we may have also more, for example, water retention in the body for those people, especially for those people who have a tendency to accumulate more water. If they have, for example, people who have kidney problems that do not eliminate the liquids, the fluids in the body very well, may have more difficulty around the new moon, this kind of new moon. Okay, so another factor for the moon specifically is that she is out of bound, as I indicated. She is at 24 degrees declination in some minutes. So she is really out of the reach of the ruler, let's say, which is the sun, the lord of the solar system. So what happens when there is out of bound moon, the moon behaves, or the archetype of the moon is more pronounced. So there is bigger empathy, higher emotional intelligence, acute intuition, inspiration, perceptions that are finer. And then there could be also less positive influences like religious, cultural, or ideological fanaticism, emotional swings, very pronounced, disobedience to the norms, destructive emotional reactions, like, for example, if there are protests on the streets, they can get out of hand, for example, and people could become riled up and violent. And there is also a trait, less positive, that is emotional cruelty. Those are factors to consider when there is a new moon, or a full moon in this case. The moon will be out of bounds since the 2nd to the 8th of May. It was, and from the 16th to the 20th of May, and then from the 30th of May to the 4th of June. This means that there is a full moon at the end of the month of May, and the moon will be out of bounds as well. So, and let's talk about the new moon in the sign of Taurus. The sign of Taurus, as I said, represents this steady rhythm of nature. That's one of the archetypal significators. Now, the Taurus archetype is also associated with agriculture, with cattle raise, with all the things that come from nature, especially those resources, natural resources that people need to sustain life, like food, for example. Food, all kinds of food that come from the earth. And if you see Ceres here, Ceres represents also agriculture. It represents the distribution of food and nutrition. So there is a new cycle that has a lot to do with natural resources. And also basic material things that we need. But also the axis of Taurus and Scorpio is the axis of energy, because of course we draw energy from the food we eat, And it represents, actually, Taurus represents this source of energy, where we pull the energy from. So then we are starting a new cycle in that regard, related to resources. The sign of Taurus is also associated with finances and banks and investments. So all those themes will have to do a lot with this moon cycle. Um, so it is conjunct Mercury. Mercury has had its own encounter with the Sun a few days. Let me see when exactly. So Mercury Kazemi was on Thursday the 14th, just a couple of days before this new moon. But Mercury is still combust, as is the moon, as is Ceres. So the sun is here, of course, predominant source of energy. And actually, whatever is starting at this point in this new moon, we are not able to actually realize or see or understand yet. So we need to wait at least 2 or 3 days before we understand what has started. Another factor to consider for this new moon is that this new moon is in the third decan of Taurus. And the third decan is associated with Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. But not only that, it is also in the Egyptian term or Egyptian bound of Saturn as well. So there is a component of timing, of having patience, of needing to have discipline and hard work. Saturn usually requires us to work hard and repeatedly and making lots of effort to achieve things. So this new moon cycle brings with it this requirement of having to obey the rules, to follow the instructions, to restrain ourselves. And there is a component of scarcity or scarcity mentality, the lack mentality, that there is not going to be enough, right? And something is lacking that we need to. For example, Taurus is also associated with storage and accumulation, right? So people may have this tendency to accumulate resources because of fear, because Saturn is also inspiring fear. So people may be fearful of lacking what they need. So these are the energies that this new moon is bringing. So Mercury is bringing a message as well, but it's not so clear yet, because Mercury is combust, as I said. And Mercury is not in the Egyptian term of Saturn, but it is on the term of Mars, the end portion of Taurus, within the decan of Saturn, but in the term of Mars. So we have this, if you want, this impulsive communication, kind of coming to conclusions before thinking, right? Mars is impulsive. And it could be also an assertive communication, assertive way of speaking and talking. Okay, now let's talk about the ruler. The ruler of Taurus is Venus. We already said that Venus is out of bounds. And what this out of bound Venus represents is that the field of resources is going through an exceptional situation, let's say. And curiously, Venus is in the sign of Gemini, the last decan, which is ruled by Saturn, because Saturn rules Aquarius, the decan of Aquarius within the Gemini sign. And also, she is in the Egyptian term of Saturn. So we can count on the scarcity of resources, maybe the scarcity of money, and problems with earning money, having money. Also, the lack of harmony, the lack of composure, the lack of peace, and a situation that is very earnest in society. Venus represents the social relationships. So there could be that we are socially relating very earnestly, very serious conversations, Gemini, serious conversations regarding resources. What are we going to do if we can't find what we need? And okay, so I think that's enough for the ruler. Now we have a very tiny little configuration here, because we have a sextile Venus with Mars, which is in conjunction with Chiron, and again in the Egyptian term of Saturn. And in this case, the decan is Sagittarius, and the term is Saturn, which means that there are some limitations at an international level, at a cultural level, ideological level, global level. It could also mean restrictions in long distance travel. And Mars with Chiron may represent difficulties as well. So, of course, the archetype of Chiron is still being studied. I used to say that it represents a vulnerability, and in Aries, it represents our identity problems and basic life problems. And it could be, but I think Chiron is now offering some more, and I'm still investigating. Now, for this Mars Chiron conjunction in the term of Saturn as well, so there is a reinforcement of this Saturn incidence on this, not only the new moon, but the moon cycle. So we have a lot of Saturn to talk about. And there is a sextile between Venus and Mars and Chiron, which represents actually the easy flow of energy between the two. So it may represent that there is collaboration between actions, and the search for resources, that we are working hard to find the resources needed. Okay, so let me see my notes. Now, this emphasis on Saturn is kind of a reality bath, right? We have been kind of submerged in so much information regarding the economic crisis that we are going through, given the wars, the many wars that are taking place. And what we are talking here about is that there is this moon cycle is a closing, has a closing and renunciation kind of energy, with, as I said, scarcity, restrictions, regulations, delays, for example, delays on distribution. And the consequences, as Saturn indicates, could be long term, because Saturn talks about long time, right? It takes a long time. So I think all of us will be adjusting our belts. Maybe we need to restrict the consumption, and also realize there are so many things that we have been buying and we never needed, right? Things that people accumulate and accumulate things that will not be useful right now, right? And I think we need to come back to the essence of nature in a way that we need to be more frugal and more sober in our choices and desires. Taurus also represents our desires, our values, things that we attract because we need or not. But I think with this moon cycle, we will go back to the basics, right? Since Taurus is the most basic fixed sign. So, and it's also possible that we need to go back to the past and the practices of producing food. For example, because the modern techniques of producing food, and be it agriculture or cattle raising and such, have been so much mechanized that they are exhausting the soil, for example, and the nutrients in the soil that are needed. So many people talk about economic crisis and issues regarding the production and the distribution of food due to lack of fuel, right? So many countries are already rationing the sources of energy, and in poor countries, for example, not only are they rationing, but they are also they already have restrictions to access to the resources and food, etc., and because of lack of transportation. So we have another factor here is the mutual reception between Mercury and Venus, right? Venus is in Mercury's sign, Mercury is in Venus' sign. So in this way, they're helping each other. Like Venus is beautifying the house of Mercury. Mercury is informing the house of Venus, all right, giving information regarding the values, the things, our desires, right, and we might actually change our desires and the things that we value. Maybe we change because certain things that were important before are not important anymore. So take a look at the 3 houses and even 4 with Jupiter in Cancer, where this energy is happening, right? Also, considering that Saturn, the position of Saturn, because Saturn is ruling the decans and the terms that I talked about. So the 3 houses that are more incident zone, they are Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Another thing to consider for this new moon chart is that all the personal planets and the traditional planets are on one side of the nodal axis, and this is traditionally considered a trap for the planets, that they cannot give the results that they are normally giving because they are kind of confined, right? And when you lack freedom and you are restrained or restricted or locked down, for example, you are not able to function well. So we need to have freedom of movement. And in this case, the planets here are trapped. It's like being in a prison, right? So that's another factor that we need to consider for this new moon. Now, Mercury and Uranus, you see them here in the north declination. They are parallel, meaning they're both declination around 20 degrees declination north. So they are together. So this gives us, it's like a conjunction, and they are about to conjunct as well. Sorry, in longitude. So they are both conjunct by longitude and declination, which makes this conjunction more intense. And we may feel very nervous, in a lot of anxiety, and more so once Mercury moves to Gemini in his own home. I think we will feel fidgety and have a hard time staying still, and also our mind will be at 100 an hour because this is a nervous stimulation. Mercury and Uranus stimulates the nervous system to a point where we feel very anxious. So make sure that you have your spiritual practice, that you take time to come down in a very comfortable place, that you go and enjoy nature, and also that you participate in family activities, that you hug your family members so you can ground yourself. So with this new moon, there is a need for grounding. Venus, the ruler of Taurus, is on ground. So only brought down by Saturn, but in Gemini is very fidgety and nervous as well. So our feelings will be anxiety, frustration, because we might not get what we want or what we need. And with Mercury and Uranus, the positive side could be that we find new solutions out of the blue, innovative solutions, that we have great ideas, inspiration, and we can liberate through our reasoning, our logic, using our mind, right? Now, another conjunction or parallel by declination is Jupiter and Pluto. Let's see. Pluto is at 2251, and Jupiter is contraparallel, actually, contraparallel at 2208. So they're both 22 degrees, but there is about 40 degrees difference. 40 minutes, 40 minutes, 22 degrees contraparallel. This means an opposition. And this represents those power struggles that are going on, to make sure that you don't get involved in personal power struggles. And there is also a very awkward and obsessive aspect by longitude between Jupiter and Pluto. It's called a quindicile, or 165 degrees apart. And this could be obsessive about getting power. So even to the detriment of others, the other, or other people, or other countries. I mean, the power struggle is actually has reached cruelty levels, where is disregard for the earth, disregard for humanity, disregard for human rights, and it's very painful to witness. So Jupiter in Cancer may offer the refuge, the shelter, the emotional shelter that we need in order to cope with everything. Sorry that I might have painted a picture that is not so happy-go-lucky, but if you understand all the traits of this astrology chart, then you understand. Now, wait, if you are going to start something on the themes of your Taurus house, zodiac house, then wait about 2-3 days until the moon reaches a sextile, let's say Cancer, maybe join Jupiter. Venus will be in Cancer as well, and it will be around the 20, around the 20, there will be the moon, Venus, and Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, and it's going to be a very good day to find comfort and emotional support. And to use it for other things as well. It's, I would say, is the best day in the month of May. So for the lunations that are followed, let me show you the charts that I prepare for the waxing square. So you understand that this moon cycle started in a fixed sign, but is developing in mutable signs. The quarter waxing square is at 2 degrees of Virgo, and Venus is out of bounds, and now Mercury is out of bounds, ruler of the moon. So you can expect events. Now, there is also a parallel between Uranus and the Sun. So there could be unexpected behaviors from someone in authority and you may have behaviors that are not your norm. Then we have the full moon at 9 degrees, almost 10 degrees of Sagittarius. Again, it's in the term and decan of Sagittarius. So this means that whatever this full moon brings um, will be global, or will have a perspective, a global perspective, international perspective. It may have to do with travel, long distance, and the moon is out of bounds as well at 26 degrees 50 minutes. It's very far out, together with Mercury and Venus out of bounds. So then the waning square will happen in Pisces. So we will have to come to this crisis in consciousness, looking for spiritual meaning in this moon cycle. Okay, so there are several other factors for this waning square, but you can take a screenshot or pause the video and take a look at the chart. I'm not going to analyze it here. But you can also look for the family of lunations. So the full moon not only comes in 2 weeks, but in 6 months there is a full moon in Taurus, and that is one of the cycles where there could be a completion or a fulfillment of what is started now. The other thing is the family of lunations that come every 9 months. So in 9 months, in February 2027, we have the waxing square in Taurus at 25 degrees again. So that will be another way of taking a look at the process that is going to develop. Then the full moon 9 months later, November the 14th, at 21 degrees of Taurus in November 2027. And then the last quarter square will be at 24 of Taurus on August the 13th, 2028. So those are cycles to take note and see, because the new moon can be interpreted at different levels in our personal life. And there could be events that are also at different levels. One could be immediate, in 2 weeks I will have my food storage, or so in I don't know, in 6 months I will have a new job, or etc., right? So that have to do with Taurus themes. So keep an eye on those, and I would like to invite you to have a free consultation with me. You write to my email and I will teach you all about it. It is about analyzing your chart publicly on YouTube, meaning that we record together the consultation, and I publish it publicly on YouTube with your permission, of course. And if you are willing to expose your chart publicly, that will help me to show my audience how I work and how I read a personal chart in a private consultation. So that will be free for you if you agree to those terms. I will respond to your email with the terms and conditions for this kind of free consultation. So mainly it's that I read your chart and for example, if you have, suppose you have a night chart and you have Saturn at the bottom of the chart in Capricorn in the 4th house, I may say, well, your Saturn is very cold. It is associated with, say, scarcity or poverty problems in your early childhood, or on the other hand, it could be a very strict mother that had you fulfill responsibilities first and then play after, etc. So I may describe the archetype and I'll let you respond in the context of your own life if the archetype is associated with what happened to you. So that's the way we will do it. So don't hesitate to send me an email with your request, your information. You may also ask a question, something that you want me to read for you. Of course, it's just a 15 minutes consultation, so it's not that I'm going to read the entire chart. So, but you can come to the consultation with one question, for example, and I will do the reading for that. So if you think this is something that you're interested in, so don't hesitate to contact me this email. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great moon cycle. I will be with you talking about the full moon next in about 2 weeks. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.